So basically, this format kind of got a hard reset. What's going on, you guys? Slim here. If I've been bringing you guys another discussion, I know it's been a while. I know the ban list took place a couple weeks ago, and now we're, pretty much just processing it all still. Like, some people are building new decks and doing all these things, and one thing I've noticed is that, like I just said, we are in what's called considered basically a hard reset, meaning that all the decks that were playable last format are still playable. They've just basically got a reset button. A lot of the decks that weren't playable last format have the ability to be played again, and it's actually pretty cool. I know I'm a little late with this discussion talking about the ban list and stuff. I've been really busy, but I'm thinking about a lot of different decks and things I've noticed, even going to the sneak peek and seeing what people were actually playing. That actually gave me a lot of knowledge as to what people are still trying. I've already had friends tell me about their successes with Sky Striker, their successes with Salamangreat, their successes with Thunder already. Like, there's so many successes that have already happened, even though they're not big scale tournaments. We don't have regionals or anything yet until I believe it's next month that I believe there's some regionals. There'll be the YCS in Portland. There'll also be the UDS, which will actually be a huge indicator of everything. But overall, if you look at all the main decks that we had, the big four that we had last format, pretty much the same thing. I'm going to talk about basically like the things that have changed with those decks, the very simple things that have changed, the things that people are trying out, and just to give you guys kind of an up-to-date idea of what you can do for the new format, and based on, just like some of the successes I've heard about, seen about, like you'll see it over on Facebook and stuff like that. Definitely can do stuff like that. So yeah, we'll get into it. So of course, starting with Danger Thunder, because I mean, we kind of had to. It's projected to be the best deck. It's a known fact, projected to be the best deck, because the list, while it did hit a couple things, it didn't do enough. They only hit Eclipse Wyvern, which was like a big thing, and it hit the Baby Dragons. I know the Baby Dragons seemed like a lot. The Eclipse Wyvern, was something I don't think a lot of people were planning. I think what's crazy is that it made the prize card kind of lose value, and I don't even know if it's going to be played. So for all the people that actually invested in a prize card, like, that really sucks. Like, I couldn't believe that, a lot of people were like talking about how, it became an additional extender with Eclipse Wyvern, being able to abuse Eclipse Wyvern. You could do that with Brotar and stuff like that, but basically the prize card made it to where it was just, you could double Eclipse Wyvern, you could get a rank, you get a level 8 on the field, and it was amazing. Now that the deck has lost those cards, it's put the Baby Dragons to 1, they're still going to play them. They're still going to play them. There's no reason not to play one copy of Wyvern Buster, one copy of Collapse Serpent, because, you can draw into them. You do have Star Users, you do have Sekka's Light, if Sekka's Light is still the way you want to go, and, you still have things you can do. They hit the dangers, the good ones to 2, 2, and 2. Again, a lot of people don't remember, but the first time we saw dangers in a Thunder Dragon deck was actually, I believe, when Andres Torres played it in his deck, and he played just 2, 2, and 2. He started the wave of dangers being in the Thunder deck, and with that, he started with just 6. It was all he needed. They were just additional extenders to help you get into Star User more consistently. And the thing is, you can still do that. You can still take that concept and you can still apply it. Now, the difference that, has changed over the time, as you guys have seen, is that, you just play more Sekka's Light. You play, more monsters, Sekka's Light, pretty standard like that. Other things that people have been talking about is, of course, we didn't lose Brotar, we didn't lose Levianeer, we didn't lose any of the main Chaos guys minus the Baby Dragons, so you can still do a lot of things. Again, I think the prize card took a hit with Eclipse Wyvern going. I don't think people will actually play the regular CED. I did play it at Atlanta, for a lot of people that know, and I'll be honest, when I did play it, it was just an additional level 8 that I had access to, but you can do it better with 3 Levianeer, just to be honest. If you're playing the Sekka's Light build, you have your 3 Levianeer, you have your Brotar, you can play cards like Defrag Dragon and other stuff that'll be additional extenders. There's just some really cool things that you can do just to replace the missing pieces. And then people ask, okay, well, what do I replace with the dangers with? Well, if you go down the scale, we already know the order of the best dangers is Nessie, Jackalope, Snake, and then most people are saying the next one would be Mothman, because Mothman at least lets you kind of facilitate and fix your hand. Like, you can, kind of mulligan your hand a little bit with it. The one thing I never liked about Mothman is it does let your opponent get cards, but it also gives you the ability to get knowledge of what your opponent's playing based on what they discard. So it could be interesting to see what happens with people playing Mothman. And the only other danger that I know people have talked about, if they're not playing the rank 8s like Thunderbird or Bigfoot for the rank 8 plays, they'd be playing Chupacabra. Chupacabra being able to be a monster reward is really handy. Problem with Chupacabra, though, is drawing it early, it getting discarded early. It does nothing if you have no dangers in the grave, so there is that to take into account. Another card I think that is really strong is Destrudo, because being able to, if you get it to the graveyard, if it gets sniped by a danger, or, you just have it in your hand, you can use it with some of your lower level monsters, and you can, it becomes your Guard Dragon food, and I think that's really strong. Since they didn't do anything about the Guard Dragons, the deck is still going to be really strong. And on that note, before I finish up about Thunder, I really like Pure Thunder Dragon. You guys know that. I talked about it last format. I like it again. I think the deck is still really good. The deck didn't really take any hits. I mean, what did it lose? It didn't lose anything. Like, they hit the Chaos version of the deck. They didn't hit the regular version of the deck. You still have 3 Instant Fusion. You still have the 1 Gold Sark. You still have the 3 Allures. You still have all the spells that you can play. You can even throw a mini Chaos Engine in there by playing things like Levianeer and playing things like Melody of the Awakening Dragon with Diablo, stuff like that. There's a lot of options that you have at your disposal, so I think that that's something we'll definitely see. And one last thing I forgot to mention with the Danger Thunders, I mean, we still have Crusadia cards, so the deck is still crazy. So while there was a hard reset on Thunders, I think the deck is still going to do pretty much what it did last format. It just had to pretty much fill in the missing pieces to bring the deck up to speed. It will not be the same as it was last format, but definitely be aware that it'll definitely be one of the high-seeded decks going into this format. Next, it was Orcas. So Orcas took a big hit. Losing Rusty really sucked. It really did, because you lost the Fog Blades. You lost, the ability to end on, all those negates. Nowadays, I think people are telling me you end on, like you end on Galatea, Crescendo. I don't really know, like, how far the deck can go. I never played it myself. I only played against it mostly at Nationals. So one thing I can tell you is that the deck will have to go on a different route, have to find more combos that it can do. It might start playing the Dangers again. It might go back to, like, the Neospace Connector and the Aqua Dolphin. Being able to hit the opponent's hand is pretty cool. So it could be something we see. We could also see, like, just any kind of 2-card combos, being able to play the Engage and the Hornet Drones, get you into your 2-card combos into Mermaid. Being able to do all those things is amazing. Another card that might be playing, that people were trying out last format, and only a couple people did see successes, it was actually Ibli. Ibli was pretty strong, and I think we could see it again. It is like a 1-card combo, so being able to play cards like that, I think, gives Orcas still the power it needs. While it won't be able to, get access to the Phantom Knight cards or the Fog Blades like it did before, I think that it might just play more hand traps, or it might just play more extenders to just try and build bigger boards. So I'm actually really interested to know what Orcas players are going to do. We're seeing new lists pop up here and there from locals and stuff like that. It's actually something I'm going to try to do myself, is trying to get to some people to do some deck profiles for me that actually are playing the decks in the new format, like what they have going. I'll profile New Thunder too, all these things that I've been trying, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, definitely wouldn't count Orcas out. While it didn't do amazing last format, it still, will be in contention. Next is Salamangreat. Again, these are the big 4. It'll be Salamangreat and Sky Strikers finish this up. So Salamangreat, I've already seen so many people with so many options, like, already just go crazy. Like, around my area, everyone is playing Salamangreat still. Basically, they took the losing, they lost 4 cards. They lost 2 Gazelles and 2 Circles. I already see them maxing out on Signet Mining, playing cards like Flame Buffalo, playing cards like the Crusadia Reclusia. I believe it's Reclusia, yeah, the level 3 guy. Basically, because anything to your 2 level 3s, get your Mirage Stalio, get your things going, it's good to go. I think the card is really solid. It's something I've seen a lot of people playing, and none of this stuff should come as a surprise. Basically, Salamangreat had their standard ways last format, and now basically they can, they'll play the Debug again, they'll play the Reclusia, they'll play anything they can to basically get to their, to get to their combo. And even though they lost Gazelle, there was some new support in Rising Rampage. People are playing. Will the Salamangreat is still extremely strong. A lot of these cards are really strong, so I think that anyone that's saying Salad is dead is completely wrong. I know we've all kind of said, oh, with Gazelle getting hit, with Circle getting hit, the deck is completely dead, it can't be played. Like I said in my ban list, and like I said in my just in my, like, the top decks you guys can play, I didn't think any deck was 100% dead that you would not see someone at least piloting the deck. And I've already seen just my locals just, like, flooded again with all the people playing Salad last format are still playing Salad this format. So I think there's definitely going to be a lot to see what's going forward with it. While I don't think it is the best deck compared to Danger Thunder, since Danger Thunder had less hits, I think it is something you definitely should not, count out, just, like, not dismiss and say it's not going to be played, because it definitely will be played. And last but not least is Striker. So Striker, okay, they lost multi-roll to 1. There's already been success. There's already been people winning locals, winning box tournaments, winning. I think it was I think I saw something on Facebook where someone won a Nintendo Switch or some kind of video game system tournament. And I know you guys are thinking those are small tournaments. Yes and no. When big prizes are on the line, people come out and they play for them and they really do their best, to do well. But we've already seen consistency with the deck. We've already seen people finding ways. And what I've noticed is they're just playing more hand traps. I've noticed they're playing the 3 Ash, the 3 Veiler, the 3 Ray. I noticed that they're just playing, of course, the Hercules base, and they're playing more Floodgates. So account for that. There are more Floodgates in the Striker decks now. There Can Only Be One is still huge. The ability to play that, play cards like Impermanence, stuff like that. I've even seen some similar to the list that took second at Nationals, playing cards like Summon Limit, playing stuff like that. We might not see Summon Limit as much, but we'll probably see more of There Can Only Be One. It's so broken against Salamangreat, and it really does hurt other decks, so we could definitely see that. But basically, with the big 4 decks of last format, they're still the same decks this format. They've just all been kind of got a hard reset in the sense that they basically had to go back to the drawing board and, you know, just fill in the missing pieces. A lot of it is kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You're filling in the missing pieces, making everything fit, kind of like Tetris too, I guess. And yeah, that's basically what all these decks have already proven to be doing. I've seen it at locals. I've heard about it from friends. They've sent me their list. They've told me about the things they're playing, the things they're trying. And I mean, I gotta be honest, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that even when a list hits, decks aren't dead. You just got to find a new way to play it, and I think that's what's really, really cool about this format. I wasn't 100%, you know, sold on the list. I think there were some things that were missed. I thought about making a video about the things that were missed, but I figured, you know what, there's no point. The decks are still playable. The decks are still going to do their thing, and this, again, is our format pretty much through October and stuff like that, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with all the events going on, but yeah. That's what I wanted to say about the main 4 decks, and then all the other decks, like Heroes, True Dracos, Altergeist, Guru Control, all these decks, they got like a fat, you know, like they basically got like a huge boost. Not Altergeist, I know you guys are saying, yeah, Altergeist. So everyone thinks Altergeist is dead with only one multi-faker. They still have 3 Sangan, they still have the All Mirage, they still have 3 Solemn Judgment. 3 Solemn Judgment is so insane, it's something I didn't even really talk about, and that was my bad. 3 Solemn Judgment is actually ridiculous. Like, I played back in the format when we had 3 Solemn Judgment. A lot of the OG players, like myself, played back then. It was insane. The Solemn Wars were insane, and being able to play that in not only Geist, but decks like Guru, decks like True Draco, like I think True Draco, hi James, shout out to James, shout out to Slops, I know you're watching. Yeah, Draco is scary, man. Draco is kind of always scary. You just never know if and when you're going to play against him, but I think it's going to be one of those most represented decks. The deck is not expensive, and you have 3 Solemn Judgments now. Like, that's so insane. Like, whether you played in the main deck or the side deck, like to stop evenly match and stuff like that, all these stun decks, all these rogue decks now have auto answers to cards like evenly match cards, answers to Denko. Like, that's the thing is, it used to be summon Denko, kill you. That's kind of how it was, I'll be honest. That's how I played against True Draco. If I drew Denko, okay, cool. Drop the Denko, you know, spam the board, kill them. These days, they can Solemn Judgment the Denko, and then you're kind of just like, oh crap, that means all their floodgates are still live. So there's all those things you have to take into account, and I think that decks like this, decks like rogue decks that I've mentioned, are still going to be really strong. The hard reset for them is that they get to be played more. They get to see more, I think they're going to see more representation, and I think that overall, while I know not all of you agree with the list, you think there were things that needed to be hit, there were things that needed, you know, that needed to be addressed, I think the format is still going to be pretty crazy in the sense that there are a lot of decks to play. And that's the thing is, you can argue till the cows come home, but when there is a format where there are so many decks that can be played, I think it's a good format. Now I know there's going to be Build-A-Board, there's going to be, you know, there's going to be people trying to still play Mine, there's going to be all these crazy things that you guys think are unfair, but remember, we've been in way worse formats. Like, if we look back over Yu-Gi-Oh! History, there's been so many formats that people couldn't stand, that there was the point where they just didn't play. And I honestly don't think last format or this upcoming format will be a format like that. So I think it's a good format overall. But yeah, that's it. Those are my thoughts. I kind of just got this idea in my head. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about like the hard reset that basically happened in the game, and I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was bad at all. I think this is actually going to be a really crazy format, and I'm excited to see what the events produce, what people are playing, and you know, on the regional circuit, the UDS circuit, the YCS circuit. It's going to be nuts, and I look forward to it. But I'd like to know your comments down below, you know, your thoughts. Leave them in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys purchase any cards, I'm a shameless plug. I got my TCG player link down there. We're affiliated with them now. You know, shout out to TCG player for the support. I really appreciate it. You know, yeah, it helps out the channel, helps me out, and I really do appreciate any of you guys that, you know, try to give back and try to, you know, make your decks better. Best place to go. That's where I get my singles. So yeah, but let me know what you guys think about this upcoming format, what you think about this hard reset, and how basically in the sense of a hard reset is that we can still play all the same decks, they just have to play at a different level, and I think it's going to be pretty crazy. But I'd love to know your thoughts. I know there's plenty of decks I didn't touch on. I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.